Hello, my name is John Bannon. I'm an attorney and philosopher. In today's video, I'm going to explain how Hanssonian superdeterminism destroys universalism. Now, when I speak of Hanssonian superdeterminism, I'm referring to a very specific version of superdeterminism, proven by Swedish theoretical physicist Dr. Johan Hansson. You can find his proof in the peer-reviewed physics journal Physics Essays, Volume 33, Number 2, June of 2020, pages 216 to 218. So Hansonian superdeterminism says we live in three dimensions of space and one hidden static dimension of time. So we live in this fourth dimensional static block universe. And the only thing in this universe are static real particles. They're particles that do not move, they do not change, they're like pebbles in concrete. They are permanent. However, they do make patterns through the static dimension of time, which we describe through our mathematical laws of physics. Now, universalism is an idea put forth by philosopher Arnold Zuboff. And universalism says that the subjective I of conscious experience is the same for everybody. So if you think about what the experience of existing, the subjective experience of the I, just existing, that base fact that you exist separate from everything else. He says that that experience is the same for everyone. You can't tell from that subjective experience of the I whether you're dealing with one particular person or another particular person. So the differences arise only in the objects that the universal subject views. And that would include even the will of the person, because the will of the person supposedly can even be observed as an object when one is under deep meditation. So let's just assume for now that universalism makes sense and is seemingly correct. Um, However, Hansonian superdeterminism disproves universalism. Under Hansonian superdeterminism, each person's subjective consciousness must lead to their unique set of predetermined decisions and behaviors. So, under Hansonian superdeterminism, for instance, if you think about your conscious decision to move your arm, now your arm is undeniably a physical reality, which means that your arm movement in the future must be a predetermined aspect of the static block universe under Hansonian superdeterminism. But if your future arm movement is predetermined, then your conscious decision to move your arm must also be predetermined in order for your arm movement to be predetermined. So your subjective consciousness has to be a predetermined aspect of the superdeterministic universe. In fact, it would have to be a physical reality and aspect of the predetermined static block universe in order for it to be predetermined in the first place. So the only thing that exists where your consciousness does that's physical is physical brain particles. And therefore, the predetermined organization of physical brain particles must be what leads to your predetermined conscious experience. Now, because your conscious experience has to be predetermined and superdeterministically correlated with your future decisions and behaviors, such as your future arm movement, then your conscious subjective sense of self has to lead to a unique set of decisions and behaviors that you're predetermined to engage in. It has to. Otherwise, those predetermined future decisions and behaviors can't be predetermined if your consciousness and your conscious decision to do them is not itself also predetermined. So, for instance, because decision A and decision B are objectively different and fixed in different locations in the static block universe, then consciousness that experiences them must also be numerically different. They can't be the same universal consciousness. They have to be different consciousnesses. So you can't have one universal subject leading to two different predetermined outcomes simultaneously. So if you think that the subjective conscious experience of the I is the same for everybody, and you take two of those consciousnesses, there's no way that you can tell whether one has to lead to a predetermined event A and the other one has to lead to a predetermined event B unless there's a real difference between those two consciousnesses. There has to be. If they were the same fungible conscious universal reality, then there's no way that they could be predetermined to lead to different decisions, A and B. It isn't logically possible. So, because the universe is superdeterministic and future decisions by people are predetermined and must lead from their own personal consciousnesses, then their personal consciousnesses must be predetermined to lead to those different events, which means they cannot be the same universal consciousness. That's an logical impossibility. So, Hansonian superdeterminism proves that universalism is logically impossible. All right, I'll give you a second to read the board. All right, until next time, take care.